Thank you for tuning into KIDZ News. I'm McKenna.
And I'm Mia. Tonight we will investigate homeless education. With the growing number of homeless students in Yuba County, it is an important topic for our local schools.
Schools define homelessness as children and youth who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. Children and youth who are doubled or tripled up and sharing housing due to loss of housing, economic hardship, or a similar reason are considered homeless.
Children and youth living in motels, river bottoms, emergency or transitional shelters, or those whose primary nighttime residence is a public or private place not typically designed for sleeping are considered homeless.
Children and youth living in cars, parks, public spaces, abandoned buildings, substandard housing, or similar settings are also considered homeless. Migrant students living in similar conditions are homeless too.
Before working on this story, I didn't realize how many students in Yuba County are identified as homeless. It is surprising.
Mia, did you know there is a federal law that protects the rights of homeless children and youth? It is called the Mckinney-Vento Act.
The Mckinney-Vento Act guarantees educational rights and supports for students experiencing homelessness and seeks to remove any barriers these students may encounter in succeeding in school.
Under the Mckinney-Vento Act, every school district must appoint a local homeless education liaison. The liaison serves as the district's lead homeless education contact. We have a homeless liaison in our studio tonight. Thank you, Carissa, for joining us. Tell us a little bit about your role of being a homeless liaison.
Thank you for having me on the show. Homeless liaisons are identified in the Mckinney-Vento Act to make sure students living in homeless situations have the right to go to school no matter where they live or how long they have lived there, get help enrolling and succeeding in school, stay at the school they went to before becoming homeless or whatever school they were last enrolled in. This is called the school of origin. Get transportation to their school of origin. Go to the local school in the area where they are living.
We are beginning to understand more about homeless education. We have two KIDZ reporters, David and Miranda, on assignment in our local schools. Carissa, would you be willing to help them answer some questions from school officials?
You bet! Identification of homeless children and youth begins in our schools. School staff, secretaries, attendance clerks, teachers, and principals are critical partners for homeless liaisons. What questions are you getting out in the field, Miranda?
I'm at an elementary school with Principal Connor, who wants to know more about the services school districts provide homeless students.
How does our school district support us as we welcome and educate homeless students?
The Homeless Education Program is an advocate for homeless children and their families. We help remove barriers to education. Some of the things we provide are home-to-school transportation, school supplies, clothes, shoes, and personal hygiene items along with other creative solutions to assist families. We can help with PE uniforms, field trips, graduation requirements, and other things that prevent homeless students from enrolling, attending, and succeeding in school.
I see. So we need to make sure homeless students have the same opportunity to meet the same high academic achievement standards as all students. That makes sense.
Now, I'll send it over to David, who's in a school office, to help answer questions about enrollment.
Thanks, Miranda. I'm here with Miss Madeline. She works with homeless families as they enroll their children in school.
When homeless students come to enroll in our school, do they need to have all the same documentation that we require of other students?
That is a great question, Miss Madeline. Schools are required to immediately enroll homeless students even if they don't have documents, such as proof of residency, immunization records, or other medical records. After immediately enrolling them, the Homeless Education Program will work with the schools and the school they are transferring from to secure records. We will also work with the family to get necessary medical and immunization records and connect families with medical professionals if they need assistance.
That's wonderful. Can you also assist the referrals to community health, mental health, dental, and other welfare services?
Yes, the Homeless Education Program is committed to removing all barriers to education for homeless students.
What a great safety net for homeless students. With so many things constantly changing in their lives, it's nice to know schools are committed to providing a safe, stable, nurturing place for homeless students. Teachers also have questions about their responsibilities, so David is going to take us into a classroom.
Anthony, you teach students experiencing homelessness. What are some of the challenges you have encountered?
I have noticed some students who begin to withdraw themselves from school and they are tardy more frequently and their personal hygiene levels begin to decline. After talking to them about what is happening at home, I believe they are experiencing a transient lifestyle. What do I do?
Complete a Mckinney-Vento referral form. It is an easy-peasy form to fill out. Your school office will send the form to the Homeless Education Program, and we will reach out to the family.
What if the student doesn't want anyone to know about their situation?
The Homeless Education Program will work with you to offer services to the student and their family. Just let us know that you or the office staff would like to be the primary contact. We know families are in difficult situations, and we want to make the assistance as easy as possible. We will work as a team to remove barriers to education.
And I have one more question. Is there a time limit on how long a student can be considered homeless?
No, there is not a specific time limit on homelessness. Whether a child or youth meets the definition of homelessness depends upon the living situation and individual circumstance.
It sounds like each Mckinney-Vento case requires a case-specific inquiry. The school district's homeless liaison determines if students meet eligibility, correct?
You're right, Miranda. Whether a child or youth meets the definition of homelessness depends upon the living situation and the individual circumstances. Teachers and school-based teams are critical to helping us meet the mission and connect homeless students and families with resources.
Since it takes a team to deliver services to homeless students, we'll also touch base with an attendance clerk who is another important part of the equation.
Thank you. My questions also center around eligibility. Are children and youth considered homeless if they move in with relatives, friends, or other people?
Children or youth sharing the housing of others due to the loss of housing, economic hardship, or similar reasons are covered by the Mckinney-Vento Act. However, students who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence due to a disaster like a fire or flood are considered homeless.
I would imagine as students get older, they work harder to hide the effects of homelessness. Next, we're going to check in with a high school counselor to see what can be done in the older grades.
The Homeless Education Program assists us with bus passes for students so they can get to school and have the flexibility to participate in sports and other after-school activities. In some situations, homeless students may be eligible for graduation exemptions. But I do have a question. We have youth who are running away from home. Are they considered homeless?
Yes. Even if their parents state a desire for the youth to return home, unaccompanied youth count as homeless. The Mckinney-Vento Act defines unaccompanied youth as a homeless child or youth not in the physical custody of a parent or guardian. Two conditions must be present for a child or youth to be considered unaccompanied under the law. The child's or youth's living arrangement meets the Act's definition of homeless, and they are not in the physical custody of a parent or guardian. Physical custody refers to where a child or youth is physically living. It is important to note, however, that the presence of a custody or guardianship issue alone would not make a student eligible for Mckinney-Vento services. Rather, the student's living arrangements also must be considered.
Now I'll send it back to McKenna and Mia in the studio.
Really informative report, David and Miranda. Great job. We would also like to thank our homeless expert, Carissa, for helping us sort through the Mckinney-Vento regulations.
With only a few minutes remaining in the broadcast, we want to make you aware of a few additional items.
Reach out to your district's homeless liaison. If you come across any questions while serving students experiencing homelessness, on the show's closing credits, your local school district's homeless liaison information will appear.
That concludes tonight's broadcast of KIDZ News. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you found the investigative report informational.
We want to thank you for all you do to support homeless students and their families. Without your assistance, schools wouldn't be able to identify and remove educational barriers. Reporting for KIDZ News, I'm Mia.
And I'm McKenna.
But before you change the channel, stay tuned for the funny blooper reel after the closing credits.
An adequate